Anthony Joshua in this fight?
Well, I've been trying to help Anthony Joshua for like 10 years now. I would tighten his defense up, show him how to block jabs, have him slipping punches, having his defense tight, make sure he uses jab a lot, and there's a certain way he uses jab, and he has to slip punches and relax. He bouncing around a big heavyweight like that, shouldn't be bouncing around, moving around. He should stand his ground and make his opponent throw a punch, and he make his opponent miss and counter back, and use a jab, and use his jab on Deontay Wilder more, but keep his defense tight, keep his chin down. I don't know why Anthony Joshua or any of those guys didn't call me so I could show them defense, because that's all Anthony Joshua need was confidence, a good defense, a good jab, and somebody to show him how to slip punches. His legacy would still be here. He would still be champ. Okay, I would have him looking really good, no knockouts. Deontay Wilder the same way. All Deontay Wilder got is that right hand, and if he tightened everything else up, he would still be undefeated.
Those are the words of former two-time heavyweight champion of the world, Tim Witherspoon, as he offers his advice to help train Anthony Joshua ahead of his scheduled fight with Deontay Wilder. Let me counterpunch. The things that Tim said makes sense from a hindsight standpoint, okay? Meaning, someone like Joshua Big shouldn't be bouncing around. Well, he should stand his ground, slipping his shots. Here's the problem with AJ. It's his confidence. You have to have faith in knowing that you can do that. And we can clearly see Joshua doesn't. Joshua is so tentative now to the point where when he throws a punch, instead of slipping a shot, like we've seen him do before, people, he will throw punches and then grab because he's unsure of what the fighter's going to do, because he's not comfortable enough to slip a shot after throwing a shot. So that's going to have to be something that may not be able to be healed or fixed. That's a mental thing with Joshua. Joshua, got in those exchanges with Andy Ruiz, and it did something to him. Let me give you guys a story, right? Years ago, I used to drive trucks, right? Very briefly. I mean, I'll drive here or there, but that's what I did for a while. And my first load, I was parallel to a truck. A truck was on the side of me. I was on the side of him. And my girlfriend at the time I was talking to her, and I was just pulling out. So I hung the phone up. So I was pulling out. As I was pulling out, I made the dumbest, most amateur mistake that I ever did. I pulled up from this truck and then turned. Mind you, I got a 40-foot gooseneck on the back, and I ripped the whole front end of this truck off. Okay. I never forgot that. I will never forget that for the rest of my life. And I always have that mindset to look to see what clears, especially if you're driving a vehicle like that. I think that's AJ's problem. AJ, every time he throws a hook or a punch or something like that, he's tentative to grab because he's rethinking the whole reaction of something that he felt he should have done in the fight that he got caught with Andy Ruiz with that left hook. He's throwing shots so much that when he got nailed, he never seen it coming. And I think the idea of something that he cannot control, because you can't control something or the way you react for something that you don't see. So I think Anthony Joshua's problem is once he throws a shot, he has to grab because the fear of the unknown is scary as ever. Okay, because he doesn't know how he's going to be. Will he be right back into that mindset that when he got caught, that scared him, that tweaked something deep down inside of him? That hit that pressure point where he got hit right there? Because this is a pressure point, people. He got hit right there. Boom! And everything I'm sorry, in this side. He got hit right there. And then after that, he was never the same. That's why you seen him now. AJ was a big guy. Look how he was with Charles Martin. He was sit, boom. You know what I mean? That's how Witherspoon wants him to fight. But how can he if it's not a technical issue? It's a mental one. It's a psychological one. You know, and I'll have to say again, dude, you've been trying to train Anthony Joshua for 10 years. I would have done this 10 years ago. I don't think he needed help 10 years ago, you know, like that. But him blasting the trainers and the coaches, sure. Nothing wrong with Tim putting his name in the bag. But, you know, him saying, well, big guy shouldn't be bouncing around like that. And then another factor, people, Joshua is not a naturally big guy. Those muscles are added. They're manufactured, meaning he worked his ass off to get those muscles, right? Now he may get older and those muscles will turn on you. Now he has to keep that shit up. But what made me understand, if you want to see Joshua's normal fighting, not saying he's going to be this beanpole forever. He's a guy that was tall and lanky, just like myself, because I was the same way. And I'm not tall and lanky now. You know what I mean? But I'm 10 years older than Anthony Joshua. So with Joshua being who he is, you know, he wanted muscles. He wanted something else because he was this tall, lanky fighter. That's why he got so pissed when Dillian White called him a lanky piece of shit. You remember? When he knocked out Derek Chisora and he called out Anthony Joshua. Joshua was heated. He wasn't heated because he called him out. He was heated because he insulted him. Because Joshua knows one of his problems is he was that lanky guy. And he gets in the gym and he works out and he works these big muscles and stuff like that. That's a mental block. Okay. You know, he has a complex about that. Okay. That's the word I'm looking for. So yeah. But go back and see what he did and how he looked when he fought Andy Ruiz the second time versus the first. Look at that. You see the difference? All that muscle mass gone, but you seen that man bounced and boxed all night long. Bop! There's Andy's head. Bop! There's Andy's head. Bop! 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 That's how that was. And he still had energy after that. Okay, that's why I was disappointed to see him so big when he went to Texas and start training with Derek. Because I'm like, okay, clearly no one's paying attention to this guy. He did last 12 rounds, though. He did, and he picked up the pace a little bit, but he didn't finish. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with being cautious, but overcautious is something that people are going to question each and every time Anthony Joshua gets in the ring, especially against someone like Jermaine Franklin, because in our mind, Joshua should have swept that boy, should have slept that boy, but he didn't. Maybe Franklin's that tough, maybe. But at the same time, he's supposed to be better than Dillian White, and Dillian White had a very competitive fight with him. So there you go. And he beat Dillian White, needless to say. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Tim Witherspoon giving advice to Anthony Joshua, pleading for him to train Anthony Joshua. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunched. Peace!